Hey everybody, welcome to Mortal Content, chapter 16. So 16 of these I've done somehow. But tonight we are going to, as we keep in line with Pride Month, we're going to talk about queer media. And so it's going to go far ranging and all over the place. So it's going to be fun because, I know some, being not a queer person myself, but being queer adjacent with queer family, I know a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to having our guests on to be able to discuss this in some greater detail, much greater than what I can do, because they're definitely more fluent in that than I am. So I'm bringing on my guests here. First off, I'm going to bring the co-host of Modern Brews and Beats, a good friend of ours, a guy from North Texas Beers, his handle. Just a great guy, kind of person to give you a shirt off their back. So let's welcome Jerry Richard. Hey, Jerry.
Hey.
I'm going to bring on our other guest here. Our other guest is the person who runs Ancestors and Alcohol, talks a lot about Black media in all forms. Movies and TVs tend to be her specialty. She's also a good friend of our show and our Speakeasy Conversation show as well. So everybody, we're going to welcome here Bryana to the show. Bryana.
Hi.
Hey, welcome you two. Thanks, Gun, for popping on here. Like I said, this was something that was an idea of the producer, but I thought it was great. So I'm glad you both are here so we could talk about queer media, Black queer media, like just go the gambit, go all over the place. But first, before we start, are you all drinking anything? Jerry, what do you have? Do you have anything in a glass? Or are you just watering it up tonight?
Tonight I am watering it up. It's good old, as Tony would say on the show, high quality H2O tonight.
Bobby Boucher style. How about you, Bryana? Are you sipping on anything this evening?
I just have sparkling water.
That's all right. That's all right. So you guys are doing the H2O style. I went and this is the show where I generally drink whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and found a queer-owned distillery, Milliman Green. Jerry's familiar with them. Apparently they're from Texas. So this is a triple cask blend of straight bourbon whiskeys, 94 proof, 47% ABV. So we're going to see how burny this is because I am not a bourbon drinker. So I'm a little worried.
So, are you getting the scent of burners?
Doesn't smell super burny, so that's good.
Okay.
Like my brother-in-law is like the kind of guy, he likes things that are like 112 and 120 proof. And I'm like, that stuff's gasoline. I don't want that. Like you drink that and you're like, it just burns all the way down. So looks nice color.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts?
Definitely bourbony, but not burny on the very end. So I may end up mixing that with something because that's not going to be something I can drink straight up very long. Fortunately, that is not a fault of it's a fine tasting bourbon. I just don't like the burny part at the end. That's actually my biggest issue with bourbon for the most part. But anyway, again, welcome. Thank you for coming and being on the show here with me on my little silly media show. So let's start a little bit. So we're going to talk a bit about queer media. That'll be music, TV shows, movies. That's kind of where we'll focus. But did either of you have anything you want to start off with before we delve into topics? Anything you just want to say off the top?
Happy Pride. Happy Black Pride.
Yes. And a shout out to someone who's no longer here, but it was instrumental as I began to discover more about myself. And his name is Tuan Guy. And, I just say his name. So that I will do.
Cheers to that. I poured some Sprite in this so I could actually drink it.
Right.
There you go. Besides, this is not the Sprite show, so you should blend.
The Sprite's nice and sweet, so I can kind of cut the burn. That's all I'm doing with that. So I know a lot of people do like the Coke. I prefer Sprite in mine when I do those sort of drinks. So anyway, happy Pride, everybody. And what was the name of the person again? Jerry, could you repeat that?
Tuan and Guy.
Tuan and Guy.
Mhm.
Right to there. So let's start a little bit with like I just kind of constructed this pretty loosely. But, do you have anything you would refer to as far as like either of you, like anything that you want to speak to about like things that kind of brought you in to queer media itself? Like, Jerry, we'll start with you, and then Brianna, we'll have you chime
The year was 1988, 89, and there was a special that was on PBS, the film called Brother to Brother. And that film made such a huge impact on me because I saw people that looked just like me or guys that would be in my family and experiencing some things that, I hadn't given a name to at that time. I mean, if this was the late 80s and I'm not even 20 years old yet, right?
Yeah.
So that is, that's probably the thing that really began to give some shape to how I began to see myself in the world, even before I was able to sort of articulate what that was. So yeah, Brother to Brother. Actually, the film was called Tongues Untied, right? Tongues Untied. And a lot of the writing came from Essex Hemphill, Joseph Bean, and here's the book. Let's see if I can get it to do it without all the. Sometimes this happens when you're doing. There we go.
There we go.
And so you can see the stylings of the hair and different things like going on. So this is definitely late 80s, 90s. And I was able to find this at a local bookstore.
Nice.
And it was a local bookstore that was primarily, was all Black books. Right.
Oh, very nice.
And I love the fact that that section was there, and it was not just one or two books. It was a full section of books in the store. And I really love the fact that I was able to find this there, as well as a few other books, again, when I was just beginning to discover more about myself. So Tongues Untied is the film. But a lot of this came from books like Brother to Brother and one other book, which is not available in my hand. But that's one of the first things that I remember as I was making my journey outward, or should I say inward.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've not heard of either of those. Again, this is going to be an education for me on the show, which is kind of what I want to strive for in the shows. I like to have guests on that are can fill me in on things or educate me a bit on things that I'm not super fluent in and don't understand or understand just a little bit of. So, it's interesting because there's a lot of talk with media with the idea of like being your queer awakening.
Yes.
So I don't know if that was because a lot of people do the queer awakening thing, and it's more like what kind of stirred your loins to make you realize, oh, I kind of like this, and I wasn't aware that I liked this, or I kind of had an inkling this really kind of spurred it on. So is there anything like that for you, or is it more like something like that where you're like, oh, these are people like me? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
probably a little bit of both. I mean, like, it's just like whenever you're young and you're just, discovering that you may like someone. There's a little bit of both. You're like, oh, okay, I don't know what I like about them, but they're kind of, cute or whatever. I knew, it's funny because my dad would always say that wrestling, watching wrestling was fake. But I knew, I was like, oh, okay, there's something about these guys. They're like, okay, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but I'm like, why am I interested in this show? And I could care less about all this wrestling stuff, right? So, and then on TV, I would watch shows like My Secret Identity with Jerry O'Connell. I think it's Jerry O'Connell, and I think he was around the same age. I was 14, he was 14. I was like, going, okay, why am I, somewhat attracted? So but that it was one of those things though that I didn't always see myself reflected in all that. I wouldn't see that until much later, because and I didn't exactly know why immediately. I was like, okay, why don't I see myself in it? But then I began to understand as I, um, did come out and did, you know, go to different bars and go to different pride events and different things like that. And I would kind of go, oh, okay, it's interesting. It's a different type of world, and yet it's kind of the same thing that we kind of, used to, in terms of like, some places you're not really wanted there, or they make it kind of difficult for you to be in there and that kind of stuff. So it began to be, it was really fun in the beginning, and then you realize, okay, I don't always feel immediately welcomed every time I see a pride flag.
Okay.
I kind of still see what the environment's like before I can go, okay, I'm comfortable here. So that just took a little while. But I was also very much into church. I was very much into the church, and just didn't exactly know how to walk out and do any of those things. I was like, church was my club, which in many ways church is still a type of club, right? But
Sure.
it was my club. So when I would connect with other people who were also in the club, but also in the club, right? You'll go, oh, okay, this is interesting. So that was another door as well.
Yeah. Uh, I. It's interesting that we're going to get to the media here in a moment. We're
Mm-hmm.
waiting for Brianna to pop on back
Sure.
on here, but it's interesting you say that like you have like these places that will have a pride flag, and you said not every place you still felt welcome. It's usually like for someone like me who sees pride flag, I go, oh, that's good. Now there's certain exceptions. If it's a giant corporation, I don't believe a word of that. But if it's like a small shop or something like that, and they have pride flags or something like that, I'm like, oh, that's good. That's a good thing. But can you speak to that idea of like you don't feel welcome in certain spots? Is it a vibe? Is it the people? Like, I don't
It's
know. It could be a million things.
right. It basically, depending on the place, it could be the people. You may, in that same small shop that you may see a flag in, I may go in and I feel like I'm being watched because someone's thinking I'm going to take something.
Mm.
And I'm like, and I remember this, especially when I was first coming out. It's like going, okay, I'm not. If anything, I'm just discovering. I'm learning, where things are. So, or if you go into certain clubs, right, and you know, it was actually mentioned in that film, but I've actually had it happen to me where, I go into a club and they want, extra ID for you just to prove who you are,
Mm.
right? And you're like going, wow, okay, I didn't know if this was still a thing. I guess it is still a thing. And depending on where you go, I mean, I live in Texas, so there are some places that are not like that, and there's some places where it's like, oh, okay, they really don't, want you in there like that. Or if they do, they want you to basically be the drag entertainment, which is nothing wrong with drag entertainment, but if you're not doing drag, or you're not the comedic relief, or you're not the, you know, the trying to see how to say this. Even though I know in your show I could probably talk openly, I'm just kind of like trying to police my words a little bit. If you're going in there basically just to be the BBD, shall I say, just
Yeah.
serve everybody else.
Yep.
And you're like going, okay, these are interesting thoughts circulating in this room. I don't know if I feel completely comfortable here. I think I should probably go. And so I knew why a lot of friends of mine would do house parties, and they would
Mm.
just stay at home and play different types of music and have food and different things like that, or they play cards, and dominoes, things like that, and just have fun spending time with one another. One of the things I'm very thankful for when I was on that journey out was the men's gathering. And the men's gathering, the Paul Guillory put that group together. He was based in Dallas, but at the time he was living in Houston, and I was in Houston. And what was so great about that was the opportunity to see, once again, like in that film, see other men that look like me. Some that were younger, some are way older, different places in life, different relationship situations, right? And we were able to talk openly. We had one meeting that will be just for us, as gay and bi queer men. And then we would have another one that'd be once a month that would allow other friends and family of ours to come and talk with us and kind of do this sort of learning about how our world, what's going on in our world, so that way they could further understand what was happening. But we'd only do that, I think, once a month. And it was the other meeting we would happen like every Saturday or something to that effect. But it was really good to be a part of something like that. And so that's kind of what I mean as far as some places weren't immediately a welcoming spot just because I saw the flag. So if the flag was there, you're thinking, okay, cool. Like, for example, here's a place where not only, in fact, I didn't see the flag first, I met the people first. And then I went into the place and saw the flag. And that's Trace Brewing in Pittsburgh, right?
Oh, great place.
Definitely shout out to Adam and to everyone there who makes that place so welcoming and so wonderful, to where Adam was just so cool. And I wanted to try the beer, and I went in there. And so when you have those people, when you have that resonating, and it's a wonderful thing, then you go in, you're like, wow, okay, this feels good. This is like,
there's a vibe to that place.
Yeah, it totally is. And so I'm excited about that place and kind of what they're able to continue doing there in Pittsburgh. So definitely shout out to Trace Brewing there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, welcome back, Bryana.
Hey.
My computer did a whole restart,
Microsoft be Microsoft, and that's all.
Yeah, how did you know?
Because mine did it right before the show.
Yeah,
and it was taking a long time too.
Mine too. I was like, I don't need to do an update now. It was like update, restart, update, shutdown. I'm like, just no restart. Like,
absolutely. Mine did it right before the show, so I get it.
Okay, yeah. I'm back. What did I miss? I feel like I missed so much.
Well, no. So I would love to hear from you, like, one, your journey, and coming out. Plus, you got some media things to share too. I'd love to. I just want to give you the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah. We basically were like talking a bit about what media brought you in, like to realize, there's people like me. Like that's where it was. And then we talked about your, what was it? I said your awakening. Mm-hmm. We talked a bit about that. And so, run with it, however you want to go.
Okay. So I feel like I kind of, I guess, came out late in life. Not late. I was still young, but I grew up in a really religious household in the South. So, both of my parents are ordained ministers. That just wasn't a thing. So then when I got to college, I was like, there's a whole new world out here. And I mean, I had friends that were gay in high school and stuff. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like that's interesting. But then when I got to college, I met more people, and then I came home for break and I still didn't say anything. And I would always go like to the gay clubs, and my mom would be like, so why are you going to these clubs? And I'm like, the music is so much better. Like, what do you mean? That's why I'm going. Like, better music and stuff. All my friends at that time were gay. And I mean, like, from mass presenting women to like really flamboyant men, like just a spectrum of all gay friends or whatever. And finally, she was just like, are you gay? And I was like, yeah, I am. And it was a whole thing, with the Bible verses and the why have you forsaken me? And I'm just like, look, I'm just trying to live my life. And I mean, just as I got older, it was just kind of like, this is who I am. And then, of course, it was always this a phase. And I'm like, no. And that was probably when I was like 19, and now I'm 37. And that's just what it's been. And over the years, like I've just found more friends, found more community, and I'm actually an introvert, so my community is like kind of like online and stuff. My best friends, of course, but outside of that, like I may go like to the club, or like if there's an event or something. Just I mainly try to go to Black queer events. The white gay clubs, I can't listen. I can't sit there and listen to techno music for 30, like 30, 40, 50. No, I can't do it. I just want to be surrounded in it because it is a different experience. And I think a lot of people maybe don't understand that it's two totally different worlds. I know people are like, yeah, being Black and white is different, but there's two totally different worlds, even from being a Black gay male, Black lesbian, opposed to being a white gay male or a white lesbian. And I think it's important to find the community. I think it's important for me, the media. Growing up in the 90s, like in the 2000s, it really wasn't like you had the L word for us, but there was only like two Black characters, two Black women. Bet, who is basically super light skinned, like, and then you had Tasha, who I think everybody fell in love with. She's in the military, she's more masculine. But other than that, the rest of the characters on the show, they're white women living in LA. And that was really all we had to, kind of go into. And then you had like Noah's Ark and stuff, but once again, that was for the men. It wasn't for the women. So there wasn't, I think the only time I saw anything about being gay was on Living Single, when Maxine's friend was gay. Like, that's the only thing. Like, I literally sit back and look. No Cosby Show, no Different World, maybe the Wayans brothers.
They did that kind of spoof of gay men on film on their own color. But I don't know what you guys think of that, because they were doing very highly stereotypical gay Black men to me. But again, I'm a white guy, so maybe I'm misinterpreting it. But
Jerry, you could speak. Do you want to speak on that one?
I laughed at it, but again, though, I was still kind of coming out. So I didn't really have thoughts of like it was against gay people, or because I didn't really know what that was. I didn't have any terms for that. But by the time those skits were coming out, I was laughing at them, but I was laughing with a sort of a wink. I kind of knew, okay, this is just funny, and it wasn't really until later that I began to go, oh, okay, that was kind of, But then again, I'm also the guy it has a very problematic fave in that being the Three Stooges, just because it's so goofy and so crazy. So, if I make room for that, I could make room for some other things in comedy. And especially now that they've talked about some things as far as, and besides, some of those guys, I always looked at them like, okay, maybe these guys are gay, and this is kind of their way of dealing with it in humor or something like that. Of course, I didn't know, and I don't even know if I can say for certain now, because I don't, as far as I know, they haven't come out. Someone tell me in the comments if that's changed.
Marlon, out of that side of the family, like he's the only one that has like come out and spoken, because his daughter is trans.
Yeah,
but other than, and their niece is a mass presenting woman. I don't know her name, but I know that she does comedy and things like that as well. But outside of any of them, no. And yeah.
Funny. All right. Well, why don't we dig into some media a little bit here, because essentially this is a media show. Do you guys, how about we start with music, just because music, all media is universal in its own way, but music tends to be thought of a little bit more universal, which you can make your case against that or for it. Let's talk a little bit about queer music. What do you listen to? Who's the folks that you both listen to that kind of hit the spot for you as queer musicians?
Mm, I
I
mean,
know one for Jerry, but I'll leave.
I would say my first person, and this might be cliche, but I love Big Frida. Like, love, but also, I love New Orleans. So, Big Frida, like,
Absolutely.
hands down. And I just love that she is just who she is. Like, people can call her a man, people can call her a woman. Like, she don't care. She's just Big Frida. Like, that's what it is. I listen to a lot of her music. I love bounce music. And of course, like, you have like Doechii and things like that. Like, you have the people that like kind of trickle and come out and say they are like, I feel like now it's like the thing to be gay, or, oh, I'm bi, or it's like, okay, is this just a publicity stunt because it's what's hot right now to be out, when you have people that are really like living this life every single day, and they're not just now being like, oh, I'm queer, or I'm non-binary, or I love everybody. And I would say for me that I can't think of anybody else that's like just 100% that I listen to. What about you, Jerry?
Are you a fan of Michelle Ngiacello?
Yeah, okay, I love her. I do.
She's a wonderful producer, writer, bassist. I mean, just everything. And she always is bringing something unique every time she does her stuff. I know the latest project that she did in tribute of James Baldwin, I believe it was No More Water. Yeah, wonderful artist there. So I think Doug was going to mention Duran de Bernard. I'm a huge fan of.
Oh yeah.
I knew you were going to mention him.
You, Imani, you got that right. Bitter is a wonderful album. But even when I think about the second album, the album that has Leviticus on it, and the one that has The Way, and her cover of Who Is He and What Is He to You, which is I love hearing how the song flips when she sings it, right? And and Duran Bernard just is so free, right? It's kind of like what you're talking about, the Big Frida. He's so free and just takes it all, and has been in the industry, for a while, and people are just now hearing about him, and I'm excited for all the things he's going to do. Plus, shout out to, and I'm going to say this name, we all kind of know, but it was never confirmed. And for a while there, I was very hesitant to say his name, only because he never spoke to it directly in his life.
I feel like I know who you're about to say.
I think you do. I always have to give Luther his props.
There you go.
Always.
I knew it.
Always have to give. Yes, thank you, Imani. Peace Beyond Passion. That's the second album, which is a wonderful album. If you've not heard Michelle Ngiacello and that album specifically, you must. But Luther Vandross, oh man, so many artists. You think about what artists like Luther Vandross had to go through, and what Johnny Mathis had to go through, and Little Richard was out there, but even he had struggles with coming out, even to the point he died. He just turned his back on some things, and so I just think about their work, and I always kind of just mention their name to say, thank you for committing yourselves to the art. First of all, it kind of like you mentioned, Bryana, they were not interested in being a thing of the moment. They were committed to the art, and I love singers who come in. And Michelle is too. I honestly think Queen Latifah is too. I think she's committed to the art.
Definitely.
So whether
I'm glad she finally got to. I'm glad we finally get to see her like with her wife and her son. But it's like what you said. She was we just knew her as Queen Latifah, the rapper and the actress. That was it. It's like we knew, but we never knew.
You know, the brat. You know,
married now.
I just hey, you know, I was
good on her.
That song about Afro Puffs. I was made every time I heard it, I was like, I was always thinking she said I eat rocks and stuff with my Afro Puffs. I'm like, going, what are you saying? I don't know. But the brat, yeah. And I don't. There's I'm trying to not say people that have not like completely come out, because there's another MC, a female MC that I'm thinking of, but I don't know if she's completely come out. So
you're thinking about MC Light?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not sure. I already knew. She needs to go on and just let it go as well. Like she needs to
just.
I feel like the rap women are like basically the same as like the WNBA women. Like it's like we know, but y'all aren't going to say anything. Like one of my favorite basketball players, Tina Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tina, we know Tina. We know she just doesn't post anything. She doesn't say anything, and I'm always like Tina, like just say it for us. You know,
because there are already couples that we know in WNBA. So I'm like, hey, it's cool. I mean, ain't like you. I mean, you don't have to get into whether you're with a partner. You are valid whether you're in a partnership or not. You are valid whether you're in a partnership or not. So just come out, you know.
Yeah, but everybody's kind of got to make that distinction for themselves, you know.
True.
Yeah.
You know, I can only speak from just having several queer kids and them deciding that what time was right for them. And you know, hey, and when they came out, it's like, that's fine, whatever. You're still my kid. Love isn't going to change how I feel about you. You know, I mean, you're still my kid.
Yes.
So, you know, going to be here for you. So, but I think like he's talking about Tina Charles, just like, yeah, okay, we know, but like she's got it, and she also might just be a super private person. Like they don't like their shit out there. They just want to keep all their private stuff private because they're a public figure, which is difficult to do when you're a public figure. So,
that's true.
You know.
No, it is. I have another person, Cynthia Erivo. I was listening to her before she even came out. I love Cynthia, but you know, now that she's out and with Lena, like, yeah, I forgot to add her. I've been listening to her like when she was playing Widows with Viola Davis, when she was just still an actress and on Broadway and stuff, but her as well.
And all the Janelle Monáe albums.
Oh yeah, yes. Now you're jogging my memory of people. You know, you're jogging. We got Kehlani too. I listen to her a lot, but Kehlani just be all over the place, and I just am like, you know what, Kehlani, you know, just it's. I mean, somebody made a joke that Kehlani has dated maybe every single person in the industry, and now she's just gonna start dating regular people. Like
maybe she ran out of famous people.
I think she did. I really think she did. Every day I found out she's dating somebody else. I just found out she dated Bryson Tiller. Like he wrote a whole song about her. Half of her songs about Victoria Monet, and some of Victoria Monet's songs about Kehlani. I'm like, well, when did they date? Like,
maybe they didn't date.
Yeah, maybe just
you're right. You're right, because Kehlani has a song called "Serial Lover," and I'm starting to see why she wrote the song.
Yeah.
So.
What about? I don't know if she's ever come out, but I know she's talked about, or they talked about being non-binary. Janelle Monáe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes. I don't know that I've ever heard if they've declared any sort of sexuality, but I feel like for them it seemed more like just a fluid thing. But again, that's my not having know, and I don't want to put anything out there saying that they're definitely
No,
this or that, but I know
no,
that they
she says it in a song. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
she talks.
Okay.
Yeah, she says that she dates both in a song.
Right.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
that person. Ooh-wee. Her videos or something, man. Wow.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. She's, she's
So
also a wonderful writer, beautiful woman. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I have to say, you turned me on to Duran Bernard, and I love the way that guy sings. That guy's voice it's just lovely the way he sings. And he does a lot of really interesting stuff too. Like his albums are like more like a story, like rather than just here's my set of songs. It's like, and he'll do little interludes and kind of tie things together. And I think that's sort of a lost thing in music now. Like, it used to be in the day you would have certain things. Like I think the classic example of that for me is the Carnival by Wyclef Jean, because that album is just it's a story throughout the album, and I think Duran Bernard does that too, and that's another thing that I really dig about him. So yeah, music is. I mean, I feel like there's been way more people who are queer that just, depending on the time they're at, they couldn't be queer. You couldn't, because that was dangerous for them, or they're going to lose their fame or their money or words like threats and things like that. And so it's a shame that there's not more people that we know specifically. But it's like you said, Bryana, it's like sometimes you just know and you're just like, yeah, but I don't want to put that on them. If they haven't declared it, I'm not going to put that on them. That sort of thing. So. But any other music things you want to hit on here about as far as queer music? Because I'm sure there's a lot more we could hit on, but I just didn't know if there's any sort of highlights. What's that?
It could be its own show. I mean, the queer music.
I'm going to tell you, if we went into like house music and the amount of queer people in house music, it is like some of the best singers, like Byron Stingley. That man can sing his ass off on a house music record, and that man is gay as the day is long and proudly of it. So, yeah. But anyway, so why don't we talk a bit about we have TV shows and movies. I feel like those are sort of separate categories because they're two different forms of media. Let's start with some TV shows. Like, I think you're going to see more of that modern stuff. You'll see it more in modern stuff than you will in older stuff. You were talking about Living Single. I remember exactly what episode you were talking about. I love that show. I liked all those shows, and Martin, and it gave me something new to see that I wasn't seeing, because everything was white people, and either they were laughing with a laugh track, or it was rich white people doing awful shit to each other, and we love that, and that's what media was for so long. Or it was just drama with white people. So it's nice to see that sort of thing. So TV shows, why don't we, I'm going to start off with you, Jerry, because I know this is sort of Bryana's home, and I haven't heard you speak about it very much.
There's kind of a reason for that. When it came to specific TV shows, as far as gay characters are concerned, I can't. I mean, again, besides the comedy things with Living Color, and maybe some things that are newer that I just am not as in tune to, that are out there as far as particular characters are concerned. I'd probably be able to think of a few more films and sort of independent things, of course, like Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark was definitely a huge moment but what the tricky thing about Noah's Ark was that it was on cable, right? And if you didn't have cable, or if you didn't have a way to see it, you wouldn't be able to see that. You wouldn't really be able to even experience the show. And I think that was when Logo was a part of MTV or doing some kind of weird thing. And so not every state even was having Logo TV, right? So you couldn't even always watch it. You heard about it, but you couldn't even always watch it. So yeah, it was really kind of funny around those times when we could see characters that would, be like us. They'd be on pay television, which is great if you have the money for that at the time. But if you didn't, that's representation you missed out on. So
Yeah. How about you, Bryana?
Um,
I mean, there's a lot I know, but like,
I'll name a few. One of my favorites was Pose. That like I'm obsessed with the ballroom scene, like within a whole, and to see that, Ryan Murphy. I mean, he does an amazing job with all of his TV shows. But to see all those like Black and brown people in the show being the main character, like I think there are only maybe like 2 white people in the show, like all like as a whole. But to show that history of it and kind of the community of the ballroom scene, I thought that it kind of helped maybe like the younger generation who didn't know what was going on. Like my grandmother's 91 and she watched a few episodes with me and she had no idea. Like she remembers going down like to the village and stuff with her cousin Laverne, who was gay, but she like actually she didn't know like the ballroom scene like was a thing. She was like, this was happening in New York. And I'm like, yeah, like it was, it was happening in a lot of places, but New York was one of the main places. So that show, I think it really put a lot of those actors and actresses on the map. I think it really helped push trans individuals in a positive way and actually showed what they had to go through back then because, they didn't have all the plastic surgery. All of them weren't able to get top surgery or bottom surgery or anything like that. So you really had to pass like every single day. And I mean, a lot of them, they were not passing like at all, but they tried because they wanted to be in that world. They wanted to be in the straight world and live. And so Pose is one of my favorites.
Was it Billy Porter? And was that where Billy Porter? I think that's where I first heard
of it. That show is amazing. I always recommend everybody to watch Pose, just to immerse yourself in that world. And the cinematography on it is amazing. Like it I always say, even on my regular TV, like I can only imagine what it's like on a real TV because it's so beautiful to see all of them together. And what's some other shows? Actually I have a list because I'm about
to the list. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm about to do a thing on Instagram for Pride Month.
Yeah, if you're not following Bryana on Instagram, you should because she does great recaps of things of her media on Ancestors and Alcohol. So do that.
Let's see. So if you guys haven't seen any of these, but you should P-Valley.
Oh, the letter P. I was like, PA or something else that's really I don't want to ask.
Oh no, P stands for what you think it stands for.
Yeah, all right.
P-Valley, that came out a few years ago. We're supposed to get a new season this summer. Not holding my breath for it, but that show, it's basically about strippers, but then you have Uncle Clifford, who is a gay male who basically dresses like a woman. Like he's a woman, but he still goes by Uncle Clifford, but he still can dress trade and put on the clothes, and it don't matter. Like you have one episode, he's popping his nails off because he needs to go down to the electricity company, but they're in a small town. Everybody knows who Uncle Clifford is, but he still has to go like dim his light to go make sure that he can get his electricity bill paid or whatever. But I like that show because it showed a different side of like gay male masculinity. You had one of the other main characters, he just got out of prison. He's a gangster rapper. He's in a gang. He kills people. And you get to see this like very masculine man basically having sex with Uncle Clifford. And I don't think we've really seen that before.
Mm-mm.
And it's not like, just like you are seeing everything. And and the girl who wrote it, I can't think of her name right now, but it's a black lesbian. She wrote the show, produced the show, everything. And I thought that was groundbreaking because we've never really seen that. And this isn't a small town. It's in think of like a Jackson, Mississippi.
That's not a small town. I grew up in a small town. Small towns are 400 people. That's where I grew up.
Well, I don't know. They might have 400 people. What you think, Jerry? You think Chuckalisa got 400 people in it?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, as someone who grew up in a really small town, when somebody's like, it's a small town, that's 5,000 people. That's not a small town.
They in a small town. The main attraction in the town is the strip club. That's where
it should be.
The strip club and church. Those are your two places that you go into in that town. But that was a really good show. We have like American, not All American with Coop. She's a black lesbian actress. She's in every single episode, every single season. What else do I have? I have the Upshaws, Bernard, the son. He's actually gay in real life. And that's another thing. Like a lot of times when I'm showcasing these black gay TV shows, I like to do my research and see if that actor or actress is really gay, because I don't want to just be like, oh, well, there's this gay character, but then they're not really gay. They're just on there. And I feel like it takes away from the people who are really gay and living like in their truth. And then my favorite show, Beyond the Gates, my soap opera. Martin, he's the son on there. He's gay in real life. And Naomi is gay in real life, but she actually plays straight on the show. But she's married to a woman in real life. Those are just a few that, and there's so many more. Like the list is ongoing of it, but we didn't have that before. So I think now it's getting more. It's normal. It's more normal, even though there's some people who are still like, I will not watch this. They're boycotting because the show might be on like Netflix or something. And I don't want my kids to see that. And it's like, well, put on parental control then. Because why is your kid watching?
Put on Bluey.
Yeah. Like, why is your kid watching P-Valley anyway? Like, why are they having access to that? And of course, The Chi. Like, The Chi is great. Lena Waithe, executive producer, writer. She's had a trans woman on there. She had a lesbian couple that was married. The Brat was on there for a couple of episodes. Like that. You had a straight man who dated a trans woman. That was a storyline for a while. Like, and him hiding it for a while before he was comfortable coming out and saying, I date trans women. Like, there's a lot of representation that's out now that was not out. And like you said before, you had like the In Living Colors, or you had the Jamie Foxxes that were dressing and doing the overly ridiculous stereotype. And I think for them, they thought it was funny, but looking back on it, like, then it was funny, but now it's just kind of like
the butt of the joke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not really funny anymore. So,
and once again, with everything you mentioned, you still had to have cable. Whereas if we were talking about white gay characters, you had Will and Grace on TV. You had wasn't there a gay character on Designing Women? Mm-hmm. And so you had a lot of things you could just see on regular television without having to pay for these extra channels.
Yep.
So that was, again, sad, just because you're like, okay, now I've got to sit here and go through these hoops to get this, just to see this show, which is a wonderful reason why I'm glad we're seeing a lot of queer talent on YouTube. They're using YouTube streams to get their stories out, and their whether they be serial video podcasts or actually, scripted shows or movies. Very happy to see more queer people using YouTube to get their work out.
It's important. I feel like it's an important platform. I see like podcasts on TikTok. I'm like, how are y'all doing this? But they're making it happen. They're using what they got, and they are, like you say, they're using what they have to get it out there so that people can see it. And I say more power to them.
Yeah, the more representation, the better.
Mm-hmm.
In all its forms. I actually have a question about two shows for both of you, because the one, I know they had a trans black actress, and that was Orange is the New Black, and that was very centered around lesbians and all that. And then the other one was Queer as Folk, which I never watched, but I got the sense that most of the actors there were straight, playing queer people, and mostly white. I don't know if either of you seen either of those shows, and if you have commentary on either of them.
I mean, I remember Queer as Folk, the American version. I remember that it was.
Yeah,
UK.
Daniel mentioned that was out in the UK before the US, but
for sure, yeah. And I remember working with a friend who was really into that show, right? And I would try to, like after work or something like that, because he lived close to the mall. We were working at this stereo store, and he said, "Hey, come over," because he would like make some food or something like that, and we just watched the show. And he really loved it. I was just like, it's not moving me. I mean, I don't want to trash it while I'm around you, but it's like it's not moving me as much. But it definitely was a cultural hit. I mean, it was the show that everyone was talking about. Like that was the film.
What is it about?
As far as I can remember, you have these three friends. Well, they're more of them. The group of friends and sort of their experiences in, just as being gay men. I think one person's very much. I think they paint him sort of as like a sex addict, and so he's like always going to the clubs and always just getting with everybody and stuff. And this other person is in a relationship. Again, it's been a little while since I've seen it, but it was kind of like the L Word, but just these gay men and focusing on these gay men. And this wasn't I think it was on HBO originally.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, that was a really big thing. Even with because there was a gay characters on 6 Feet Under, right? Was it wasn't it was a interracial couple on
yeah, I can't remember because I watched like a handful of episodes of that. But.
Michael C. Hall played, and then his partner was a black man. So I remember that vaguely, just because I was like, okay, that's interesting. But once again, HBO. I think the people who got a taste of, what being out was like when people were talking about the young man on The Real World.
Pedro.
Yeah, when Pedro was on there, and then his unfortunate passing, just kind of made some realities around HIV and different things like so. Yeah, but those were things going on, and it's kind of funny you think back into that world, like going, wow, we really have come a ways in terms of even what we're able to talk about on TV. Television, or and definitely if it's
there's also the phenomenon of heated rivalry, which I watched some episodes of that. It wasn't my bag, but it was just for me the acting was kind of meh. the sex stuff didn't, but it was pretty graphic gay male sex. Like it was like you didn't see actual penetration or anything. It wasn't a porn, but it was very little left to the imagination. We'll just say that. So you're right, Jerry. I think we've come a long way to the point where that can be that. And yeah, of course, there are people.
Yep.
Daniel mentioned this person. I have Wilson Cruz on My So-Called Life. He was the gay character on that, which was back in the 90s. That was he was a teenage gay person. Like that was quite a big to do.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So Claire Danes, I think, was the character or whatever. So yeah, I have, before we move on to movies, I have one show that I would like to suggest to both of you.
Okay.
It is a show on Netflix called Sense8.
I've heard
Have you talked about this before?
We haven't. It is the sexiest queer show I've ever watched.
Sense8.
The word sense with the number 8. It is made by the Wachowski sisters, who made the Matrix movies.
Okay.
They're trans women, both of them, and so they made the main character as a trans woman, and her partner is a queer black woman, and there's gay people from all different stripes of life, and they're just all mixed together. And yeah, there's one particular scene in one episode that I still think about, and I haven't watched that show in 5 years. Like it was one of the sexiest things I've ever watched. But that one, I would definitely, if you're going to watch something queer that has a lot of sexy shit going on in different ways, that show, and it's a great show. It's got a really great premise, so it's a good show to watch.
I definitely will check it out.
Yeah.
I love a good show recommendation.
Yeah. So thank you, Daniel. That was definitely a good show, but that was a hot one, just for the record. So yeah. All right, let's pop over into movies a bit. So also, wait, before we go into that, movies actually can tie into this a bit. You were talking about, Jerry, about how things back then you thought they were kind of funny, and now you're looking at them and they're really cringy. I'm going to give you one, and it's Eddie Murphy's Raw. I laughed like a motherfucker when that came out, and now I watch it, I'm like, that was some of the most insensitive shit I've ever watched. But back then, we all thought that was funny, but now we watch it, and that is incredibly difficult to watch.
It's a long history of gays being gay people being the butt of the joke. If they weren't psychologically, deranged. There was a long history of a lot of dramatic films of where the gay character, or we'd find out is the gay character, either was, just not there mentally, or be the person that would be the killer, or the person who would kill themselves, or those types of things. And so, I think that was the thing people were raging against. Like, look, we want stories that show us as human beings and not, psychopaths
or just somebody who just doesn't have their mental faculties together, which
right, or they can't get their life together. So
anyway, all right, movies. Bryana, let's have you start, because like I said, I know you got a list.
Well, I actually don't have a long list for movies. I really don't have a long list for movies. For me, I would say, of course, Set It Off, Queen Latifah. Cleo, I don't know how. I mean, it was right in our face. I think that was the first time I saw it in a movie. I was like, okay, all right. I was young. I was like, oh, all right. She's just out here with her girlfriend, and then as I got older, there was a movie called Pariah that came out. It's about like this Black girl who is coming out, but her family is like definitely not. I think Kim Waynes is her mom, maybe in the movie or something, or Kim Waynes is in the movie. But it's basically just about her struggles of actually coming out and liking girls and finding herself. That's a really good one. I really don't know too many where like the main character. There's another movie called Beauty that was on Netflix. I think that was by like Lena Waithe. And I think that it was sorry, my computer was doing something weird again. It will So I think it's loosely supposed to be the story about Whitney Houston and Robin. You're saying yes, Jerry, it is? Okay. But they don't name Whitney's name. They don't name Robin's name, but clearly is Whitney. But that one was really good just to see it because, of course, there's the whole controversy of Whitney was really a lesbian and she only got with Bobby because of, her being America's sweetheart, which I won't go down that rabbit hole. I have so many theories on that. I will say I do believe that she loved Bobby. Like a blind man could see that those two were in love. Maybe they weren't the best for each other, but she loved Bobby. But I think she could have loved Robin too.
I think
Two
so
things
too.
can be true.
I think so too.
And so that movie, like I said, I don't have that many movies. Of course, you have Low Down Dirty Shame with what is his name in the movie? I can't think of it. All I remember him, I want to say his name is like Wayman or something like that, or I can't remember. But he was another one of the first like Black gay people that I saw in a movie, and he wasn't really the butt of the joke in the movie. He was like the comedic friend, and he had a white boyfriend, and he was just fabulous, and he was actually gay. It wasn't somebody pretending to be gay or making a mockery, and so he's always one of my favorite characters in Low Down Dirty Shame. But those are just some of my people that I can think of. Because like I said, my mind is blank for movies for some reason.
I think one of the first films no, not the first, because I actually found this much later. I mentioned Tongues Untied, which again came on PBS. Got money from the National Endowment for the Arts. It was a huge uproar because this was a very, very Black, very gay thing that was on PBS. Boy, I mean, it was a big deal, but it was a huge deal for me to see that. I think I had found a film that comedian Red Fox did in the 70s called Norman, Is That You? Mm-hmm. And Norman, Is That You? Red Fox is playing the father, and he has a son that he does not know is gay. And so he, finds out that his son is in a relationship with this white man, but he finds out in a very weird way. And of course, it's Red Fox, so it's going to be comedy and stuff like that. But, first kind of dealing with this Black character that's gay. I think of the film, in fact, the first people who get the teeth in Blackula are a mixed gay couple. And I just happened to remember that. I was like, going, okay, this is interesting, actually. The first people, who are X'd out by Blackula himself. And then I think about the wonderful coming of age story, Moonlight. And Moonlight was just a really powerful film. Again, just young man coming of age. And I want to say he was in California. Someone in the comments, correct me if I'm off on that. But just great music, great cinematography. It was not a story that ended in someone's death, which was refreshing. And especially around that time, you just never know how refreshing that is. Like going, okay, this is not someone who's going to come out and is going to then die or be killed or something like that. So that's one thing that stays in my mind. But yeah, and of course there were a lot of other films. Like one, I always loved musicals, so I was a big fan of Hedwig and the Angry Inch when it came out, and I know it became a play with John Cameron Mitchell. And Daniel mentioned Love, Valor, and Compassion. I remember that film as well. Gosh. There's a Billy's Hollywood Screen Kiss, which now features an actor that's so deeply MAGA that I would. It's quite unfortunate to even think about that. But yeah, those are a lot of those films. I think I've kind of went up into. Moonlight was maybe 2012, 2013.
How did I forget Moonlight? I don't understand how I forgot Moonlight.
Yeah, Moonlight was wonderful.
I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great movie.
Yeah,
it is. It's such a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful story.
And then so it's funny. This song was not a part of the film, but once I got finished watching Brokeback Mountain and I saw it in the theaters, I just was like, that story just kind of hit me a certain way. Because once again, we're ending with a death, and we're having someone deal with that. The first song that comes on my Colby MP3 player when I walk out of the theater, it's already an overcast day, like it's about to rain, and I'm hearing Herbie Hancock's Butterfly. And now that song is always tied to that movie. It's always tied to like the end of that movie. And talk about something that they were just like two separate things, but it's just a looped memory together when I think about Brokeback Mountain. Yeah, those are the ones that kind of immediately come to mind. There are a lot of other indie films that I think about just from going to gay film festivals, which are always kind of fun to kind of see experiments in film and actually have people who are like, okay, we've got queer people, queer characters, there's not going to be a problem here. We're going to do it. And you find some things that really, if they had more money, could probably really work if they had some more theaters to show them in.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Sure. Yeah, this is some. I mean, Moonlight was a great movie, and I remember being super moved by watching it. And he said it's interesting, Jerry, because again. So my view as a white person, sometimes I just miss the forest for the trees with simple things like, oh, it's a gay black character and they don't die, like they're not some tragedy befalls them, and that's how it always goes. And I was like, you're right. It's not that I don't want to see it. It's just I have inherent biases built in my brain that make me just kind of float right past it, and I shouldn't. But
and sometimes it's those biases that, for a while, would make me not want to watch a film because I was afraid if the trailer showed too much, which is a whole other conversation of trailers showing too much. But if they showed where the person was going to be some tragic end, I was like, oh, I'm just not interested in another story of someone just dying, like they just found themselves and all of a sudden, I fall in love, and then the train hits them, and then then the credits roll. We're like going, okay, and here we go, once again.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was thinking about this other one. It's something that my daughter said we have to watch this movie, and it was made by A24 in 2024. Actually, A24 made Moonlight, which I didn't realize. A24 makes a bunch of. First, they make great, really weird avant-garde stuff. It's great for that because they'll take a chance on things that people normally won't take a chance on.
Mm-hmm.
But they did this one called "I Saw the TV Glow," and it is a story of a young black man who is coming to terms with him being a trans woman, and the main character that is him, and then the other main character that helps him navigate this is a character named Maddie, who's played by a very androgynous man. So it's a really interesting movie. It's a bit teenagey in the way that like the color scheme that they use is very glowy, and so you just have to get. But like the story itself is just really, really heart-wrenching and interesting.
And what's it called?
It's called I Saw the TV Glow.
Oh, the TV Glow. Okay.
Yeah. So that one is one that it didn't get a lot of pub. I had heard about it, and then my daughter was like, "Hey, you should really watch this. And then when they were home from school, we watched it together, and my wife cried and I was teary eyed. So it's like, it's a good story. I mean, I have a trans son, so like I can relate to the story really well, to seeing how my trans son progressed to the point where he was comfortable being himself finally. And this kid just struggling. And it's not like the story is like, it's not like here's this kid struggling to be a trans woman. That's not it at all. It's just through the way they tell the story, you realize that is the metaphor of what they are trying to show you. It's really well done. I really, really dug that one. It's funny. It gets not a lot of like, it's got like 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has like 85%, but like, again, it's one of those things you have to watch it and see if that works for you. But it's queer media, definitely queer media. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting one that I didn't hear a lot of people talk about. I really enjoyed it. So I'd recommend it if you want to see some, just basically this allegory, this kid really struggling to find himself, and really what he was struggling to find was that he was a trans woman. But it's not done in an exploitive way at all. It's not that. So I just really think that's a really, really interesting one to go through.
Check it out.
I actually had, unfortunately, my brain's now cycling back to other things. So I was thinking about Black Mirror is one of my favorite shows ever. I fucking love that show. I think I've watched every season like 5 times. There's this one episode. I'm going to try to remember it. I pulled it up. It's called Striking Vipers. And Striking Vipers is this story of 2 guys who are friends who play video games.
Yes.
And they have like this virtual reality thing where they get to be together, and they realize they like being together in a video game, and they're both married to women. And in the video, the women allow them to go into video game to explore this part of themselves.
Is it Andre Mackie who is?
It's Anthony Mackie.
Yes, that's his name.
Who's in the Marvel movies and all that. Like, he's really great in it. Like, that's just
And the guy who played, I can only say the name once, but the guy who played Candyman, the new one, I believe he's the other guy, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Abdul Mateen II. That's the guy.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that episode just is like that show will do really creative stuff with queer people. San Junipero is a fantastic episode about 2 queer women who in real life are like, they come together in like this thing where their brains are uploaded to this mainframe, and then the mainframe they come together. But when they realize they're both still alive, but they have to die to be able to be together.
You mean the one with Issa Rae?
Was Issa Rae in that one? No. This is a different one.
Okay, Issa Rae was in one where she's a lesbian.
Yes, she was in that too. I'm just saying they do these just interesting things with queer stuff that is cool. All right, I'm gonna look it up.
No, that video game episode though, I think I've seen that a few times. That episode is because you have so many questions. Like, it's like, are you gay because you are in this video game and you're sleeping together? But one of the men, when he's in the video game, he's a woman. But then when he comes out of the game, he's just a man, and it's very interesting.
But I think what they do is basically when you're up in the mainframe part, you're who you always wanted to be. And the lady said, I have always wanted to date women and I never could. That was the one. And so I married this guy. He's a good man. He gave me a good life. And he's at the end of his life, and I have a little bit more time than him. So I have to see him through this. And the other lady was like, she was on her deathbed. So she knew she was going to be in this world by herself. And she thought maybe that woman was going to choose to go with her husband when he passed. And she didn't. She chose her in the afterlife.
Oh my God.
It's a really,
real
really
love right there. Cause
yeah. So like I said, I think that show takes a lot of chances with, not chances, but like really explores basic queer characters in a really interesting way. And except they don't do it in an exploitive way either. That's the key. I think you guys would agree that you want your characters to be genuine, and you don't want them to be exploited.
Right.
And you don't want, like, it's interesting you said, Bryana, and I'm monopolizing the conversation, and I'll stop here in a second, but when you said about you want queer characters to be played by queer people.
Yeah.
Like if you're having a straight person play a queer character, you're taking a role away from a queer actor who probably doesn't have the advantages that a straight actor has. So like I completely get what you're saying there. So I'll be quiet now. You guys talk.
Oh no, I didn't. That was you. You were fine.
Absolutely. If anything, you mentioned that show, and it made me think about a poem. It's part of a poem that Nico Giovanni had called "Crutches," and I see that part of the line like men are supposed to be strong, so they have heart attacks and develop other women who don't know their weaknesses, and they hide their fears behind male lovers they religiously touch every Saturday morning on the basketball court.
Oh wow!
So that's what it made me think about when you said that. I was like, "Well, yeah, it's interesting how sport, the connection of sport, can really bring a deep passion out, and it's all kind of sports. That's why I mean, flipping it back to heated rivalry. That's kind of one of the things I think why that show does work for some people. I found the show interesting. I don't know if I would like watch all the seasons and stuff like that, but there was one storyline that was really like a little closer to me, maybe because the two main characters on heated rivalry are not, at least there, one is out and one is not. The other sort of storyline, the character already knew who he was, and so he's like going after somebody, and I could kind of get with that one. I was like, well, the that other storyline maybe back in the day I might have been down, but I'm going, that awkward journey out, and he had a sports scholarship and stuff like that. Besides, maybe they were trying to say, look, we know, like we were talking about WNBA before, we know there are couples. We know there are couples that have got to be in other sports teams as well. We can't point them out and say, but I'm like, oh, there's got to be.
I saw something, and they were just talking about the amount of couples that are in the WNBA. And they were like, there has to be at least one couple in the NBA, like just one. But of course, they would never come out because it would be frowned upon, and
NBA,
it would just
NFL,
be
the NFL, especially
baseball.
Yeah, there's just no way. There's just no way at all.
Did you hear what Charles Barkley said after Jason Collins passed? Where he said, if you think there's no gay people in basketball, baseball, and football, you are an idiot.
Right.
Like he was just like, there's gay people everywhere. Yeah, and they can't be themselves because we live in a homophobic society. He said that straight out on national TV on a camera. And fucking Chuck is a real one because he was like, he did the one thing where he's at the bar. He's like, if you're gay, I love you. If you're trans, I love you. If you hate those people, then fuck you. Like that guy is a real one. He's
probably seen it all. We know he has seen it all. Like he's speaking from experience.
Yeah, there's just no way that there is not more queer people in men's sports, especially. Like, I'm going to ask you a real odd question that's related to that. Like, if you've ever watched something like soccer, like men's soccer in Europe, and you see how affectionate the guys are towards each other, it is like not alarming, but it's like, wow, we can do that. Like I can give a guy a hug and it's not considered fucking weird. Like, why can't we, like, listen, I'm a straight dude. Hey, if a guy came up and gave me a hug, I'd be super happy. Hey man, good. Give me a big one. Like, give me a big hug. Great. But we don't do that because, of course, there's like I said, we live in a homophobic society, as Charles Barkley said.
Yeah.
It sucks. Like, that is a tangent, and I apologize, but like, I watch that and I'm jealous. I'm jealous that we don't have that here.
It's a whole like masculinity thing. If you're masculine, you have to be like strong all the time, and it's that toxic masculinity thing at this point. It just goes too far. Like it goes too far.
Yeah, it just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, can I ask you a question, Jerry? The idea of like, we're talking about toxic masculinity, and I know that does exist in queer spaces for men as well.
Sure.
How does that, like, is it just like where it's like that sort of internalized, like internalize homophobia? Is it something to that effect? Like when you see that, when there's dudes that are just like they're queer, but they're still just like being like dude bros about it. Like I don't know how else to say it, but like the dude bro kind of thing.
Well, I know in my case, and in some guys like me, you don't want to, if you already are seen as less than, because of your skin color or anything like that. The last thing you're wanting is anything else that makes you further less than, you know. And if people are thinking about, are you a threat to the black family? Are you, or how are you helping to build the family or build the community? If you're like another man, how are you? And that was a real thing, and um, you'd have people dropping f-bombs all day, for you just being this. Um, and it's really just one of those things where they're like, okay, look, we don't need anything that's going to make us weaker. But when I think about my experience, many men like myself were the caretakers. We were involved in church. We were doing those things, right? But um, we were also caretakers of the community, caretakers of family, um, caretakers of traditions. Whether it be cooking traditions. You think about Mike. Is it Michael Twitty? Who, yeah, in his cookbooks and how he's keeping family tradition and all those things together. So it's really just men not seeing other ways to be a man in the world. They've only seen one way to be a man, or they've only had one interpretation of how to be a man in the world. And if anything, I believe that we just kind of come out to say, look, you can be a man in the world and doing things your way. So when you come out, or when you come in, to your understanding of who you are, you don't necessarily have to do one thing or the other. You can celebrate those who love the ball scene, but if you don't like it, you don't have to knock anybody or treat anybody bad or knock anybody down. It's just not for you. Mm-hmm. That's fine. There are other things for you. And if you live your life, you can actually be an encouragement to a lot of men around you to say, hey, I'm here and I'm making a contribution to, first myself, my family, my community, who those, depending on who those people are, and the world. This is a book too to suggest. One of the things that I know, Bryana, you were talking about as far as growing in the church. If I can get this to do right, sometimes when you have fuzzy screen, see if we can get it to go. This, I think okay, the book is called Spirited. Mm-hmm. You can't fully see it. Okay, well, it's shown for a little bit. Spirited, and Spirited is called Affirming the Soul and Black, Gay, and Lesbian Identity. It's really dealing with spirituality and religion, all types of religions. It's not just Christianity in there, but really just for a lot of people who that was a challenge for them, because they were also afraid of hell. They were afraid of, mm-hmm. I'm not gonna make it to heaven, or all those things, which, like we allow people to come out the way they come out. We're not gonna, tell you that those fears are, you're wrong for having those particular fears, but you have to work through them. And you have to connect with people who've been where you've been, and they can show you how they've worked through those things, right? And you get that opportunity to talk to somebody. So, talking to Bryana, who was a double PK kid, her story can encourage many lesbians and gays of like, how did you, manage? How did you navigate that world and, move beyond to where you are comfortable in yourself and where you are now? So that's kind of the cool thing about it.
Sorry. Bryana, do you have anything to say about maybe some toxic femininity in lesbian spaces? Because internalized misogyny that way, like I'm sure that exists too.
It does, especially when you have like mass presenting women who want to take on the role of, I guess, like the gender roles of, well, I pay the bills, I do this, I do that, and it's like, hey, guys, we're both women. Like, you don't have to do that. But I think a lot of them don't have anybody to look up to, and so they may look to like masculinity, and sometimes it turns into the toxic masculinity. And some of them can be abusive, some of them can be narcissistic. Like, not saying women can't be narcissistic, but it just kind of goes into a different, it can just get really toxic. And sometimes you just have to break it down and say, hey, we don't have to do what they do. We have to create our own space. We have to create our own roles because we're totally different. And you have like some of the rappers, like there's a whole thing going on with like Young MA right now, and some interview she did like with Shannon Sharp, which once again, it's Shannon Sharp, guys.
Why Shannon Sharp?
Like, Shannon Sharp is interviewing everybody at this point in life.
Right.
Comedic, of course, but just her saying that she only dates straight women. Like, she doesn't date lesbians. She only is, the straight women are attracted to her, and so that's what she goes for. And there's a lot of masculine women who only date straight women. They think it's a challenge. They think it's like, oh, well, I'm, I don't even know what they think. I think it's stupid. But, to each his own. But I think it's rooted in like male, like, I think it's rooted in like masculinities. But it does trickle over, and the ones that do dress masculine and they really in their minds believe that they're a man, like, they're different from the ones that dress masculine, but they are still very feminine. Like, they are still very, they love women, they love themselves, they love their body, but they just feel more comfortable in mass presenting clothes. But you have some that really are hard, like you're just looking at them like, but then when you ask them, well, like, do you want to be a man or do you want to transition? No, I would never. And it's like, okay, are you confused? Like, what's happening here? So yeah, it definitely transfers over, and yeah, those not for me. At all.
Like you said, you don't want to like yuck somebody's yum, but at the same time, like, it's interesting. Like, so I get to see a lot of media where it's like videos of like women being like, I am tragically attracted to men. Like, I get it. There's so many dumbass straight men. I totally get it. It's just so many dumb and straight guys. And I'm not excluding myself from that bunch, but I'm just saying, there's so I am so glad I am not dating right now. Like,
it's trash. It's trash.
It sounds so bad and so not fun.
And then you have all the women that are coming over because they want to be lesbians because they're like, oh, the men are so horrible. And it's like, no, you're still going to get dogged out with the girls as well, but it's just going to be a different way. So like, send them back. We don't want you. We're full. We are full. We're full. Go back to the men. But it's like what is it? The women who choose the bear instead of the man. Like, yeah, that's my Carrie. when the blood gets poured on her at prom.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The split screen.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, producer, you got any comments here? You've been quiet this show, so anything you want to pop off with or to say? Maybe.
Maybe.
Floor is yours.
So I wanted to talk about spicy Pride Media. This goes back to, and I think Doug can relate. Maybe we'll see what y'all can relate. This goes back to the young days when I was young, and the only kind of like weird place that I could see other men like with like kind of revealed is the magazine rack. Y'all remember this? And the magazine rack at like these like it was like a little like what is it like a little like a bodega or like place that like like groceries and stuff and had like a magazine rack. And the one in Allentown, Pennsylvania, Bryana had a spicy little corner there.
And
that
that's
had
where you was
these
at.
like yeah. So like that's when I was young, that was kind of my thing. Like I don't know, I was like, whoa, I shouldn't be looking at this, and I'm looking over my shoulder and trying to see who was looking at me and putting the magazine back and kind of sneaking it. Yeah, so like that's where like that started, but that just reminded me of like at the all, and then I heard y'all were talking about unrivaled what is that heated rivalry. And that got me thinking about spicy media. So do y'all, especially like maybe even books, Bryana, are you a bookie? Do you read like books or do you read spicy books? And Jerry,
Yes,
and then Doug, you may not read spicy gay books, but you might read spicy books though. So yeah, Bryana, what's going on? Are you into spicy and can you recommend any?
I do read some spicy books. I haven't read any like lesbian spicy books in a while. I did actually just go to a Black Book Festival, and I don't know if you guys remember the author Zane. She was there. I went to her panel.
Wow.
And boy, were we in for a treat. But she did have a book called like Purple Panties back in the day, and it was a lesbian. It was like her lesbian book. Oh my god, that right there, yeah. Like think regular Zane, but think just lesbians, like Black lesbians, like just just in the book, like that. I still have the book. It's that was good. But I do have like some other like just regular books like Kennedy Ryan. She does write some good sex scenes in her book. She's one of my favorite authors. But of course, most of them are straight. But yeah, I do. And for me, when I was younger, BET Uncut at 3:00 in the morning when your parents are asleep, tip drill video with Nelly, and the Girls Gone Wild commercials, because they still showed everything.
Yeah,
for the girls.
Yeah,
so,
Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah, that's what I was watching when I was younger. Your parents come, you got to turn the channel real quick, the Disney Channel, and then you got to turn it right back, to make sure they don't know that that's what you're watching. But yeah, plenty of uncut videos on BET. Thank you so much. Just naked women,
yeah.
On there. Yeah, that definitely.
All right, Jerry, do you got any spicy media you would like to share, either when you were young or?
Spicy media. I mean, again, I would be in those. I knew that magazine corner. I knew where I can get those other magazines. But then again, I could also, my mind, I could just get regular like wrestling magazines, and they would not even be everything showing, but your mind could go there, and you could make it happen in these magazines and stuff like that. And yeah, in as far as books is concerned, I mean, I have some books. I wouldn't say that I was reading a bunch of spicy books. One author that had a lot of sex, and he's a bisexual author, and I believe he is still alive, still with us. It's Samuel Delaney, and as a science fiction author, would write these books, and there was all kinds of sex with men and women in those books. Dahlgren and Babel 17 and some of those other things. So we grab some titles from Samuel Delaney. You're going to get some stuff. And he was very open about that in his particular journey. I believe his Motion of Light and Water, his sort of biography, talking about his relationships, is just something that I always enjoyed to look at. Now, again, those are the things I'll mostly get into. Again, I knew where I could get to find out the 24-hour bookstores and things like that to find if I was just looking for like that kind of other spicy material. But that's another whole show, and it definitely would not be. It would definitely not be for prime time.
All right, Doug, you heard it. Welcome, Doug. Let's go.
Hey, time for a road trip. I did read the first book of the Heated Rivalry series. I read it for book club. Good sex scenes. Not great character development. But yeah, I don't think you're reading those books for that. That's fine. It's funny. The book club was like, hey, I get why they're writing this. And yeah, they were good sex scenes, but the rest of the story is just kind of... And you're talking to people who like to read like in-depth books, so this was not something that's going to appeal to them in that respect. But like I said, I can appreciate like a good sex scene, even if it's not something that I would personally do in my own life.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. Great. If you can raise the tension, and to me, it doesn't really matter who's involved. If you're raising the tension, that's your job as an author or a producer or a director, is to raise tension in those scenarios, so it doesn't matter whether or not that is something that appeals to you or not. It's still sexy or interesting. So, yeah. Anything else for you folks? I mean, it's been fun. How about you, producer? Anything?
No. Y'all hit all the points.
I think so.
Happy Pride, happy Juneteenth.
Yeah, happy both of you.
Absolutely. Freedom all around. Absolutely.
Happy summer, happy cookouts, right?
Yes, Lord.
Happy cutting people off at the cookout. I mean, you got to be happy about that because it's a good thing, right? Because
I mean, if they made a cheese cookout without the cutoff, I'm already not happy. Like if they're going to make it off, like what you doing here? I just thought I can come get a plate. Man, get out of here.
I don't know. Don't they say shedding some weight always helps, right? So there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks to Bryana and Jerry and the producer for popping into the show and educating me on some things. What?
Doug, what are you doing next month?
Well, I'm getting there, if you would let me.
Wow.
And with that.
Wasn't me this time.
No, well,
Wasn't me this time.
Well, then. But I was trying to get my thanks in so I could say that. But thank you both for being here, and thanks to producer for being here too, because you always add something at the end of the show, and it's really good. Next month, I'm going to be bringing on someone named Laurel Hightower. She is a female horror writer. She's an indie author writer, so it's going to be interesting because that's like she writes smaller books that are not like super well known. I've had horror authors on here before, but like I read one of her books called The Day of the Door, which just really floored me. It was super good. It was like 230 pages, really great. We'll be having her on next month. That will be a pre-recorded episode, so any folks that that'll be playing self. We won't be here to respond to comments, unfortunately, but I encourage you to watch anyhow.
Cool.
Yeah. So Jerry and Bryana, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you popping in, giving us your stories, your thoughts. As always, we love having you folks on, and I'm sure we'll be having you guys on the think Jerry, we got something coming up with you fairly soon about music. So I think
I think so.
But
I think so. I'm like going. I think so.
and Bryana's practically a co-host, so whatever. So
Just
you
be
both
popping in.
really, because we've had you co-host before, so it'd be great. So, anyway, everybody.
The narrator says she is a co-host.
Okay. I guess the voice from on high has spoken. So all right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and Jerry and Bryana, thank you again.
You're welcome.
You
Good
guys.
night, guys.